yell out, spare not, lift up your voice like a trumpet, and tell my people their transgressions, and the house of Yaakov, Jacob, their sins. Blow ye the trumpets in Zion, sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahuwah Yahweh is at hand. Your mouth is a trumpet. Blow ye the shofar.
Good evening, and thank you again for tuning in to Blow the Trumpets. And as always, you know our God is always doing some really special things. And tonight, we have a guest with us. His name is Karenski Brown, and he's a music teacher. And he will be sharing some things with us that will just be an absolute blessing. So, hallelujah. I will welcome our brother. Welcome to Blow the Trumpets.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. And we're going to start right out because we have a lot of territory we really want to cover. And, well, tell us something about yourself first. Just something about who you are. Just something.
Okay, I'm Karenski Brown, and I'm a music teacher here at for Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools at Albemarle Middle School. I'm originally from South Carolina, a little small town right outside of Charleston, South Carolina, Hurleyville. I've been in Charlotte for about 3.5, going on 4 years now. I moved here from South Carolina. Started off as a band teacher slash elementary music teacher down in Holly Hill, South Carolina, where I started. Started off there at South Carolina State University, where I got my undergraduate degree from. And just enjoyed teaching music. I've been teaching now for 11 years, going on 12 years.
Wow, I knew when I saw, what did we call the recital that I came to, and it was just such a blessing. And for the audience, I don't know what to call you, Mr. Karenski Brown. My granddaughter, he's been helping my granddaughter with her music, so I was impressed when I saw him and the joy that he has, and how you could take a group of children and just have them do this beautiful music. So when and why did you start playing?
Well, I started playing when I was about 10 years old.
Wow.
Where I'm from, I started off playing trumpet. I started in an elementary school band in 5th grade. I had a teacher named Mr. Eads, kind of influenced me in playing the trumpet. So I started there. Played till I was about, well, actually I played throughout middle and high school. And I was just like the average kid, you know, I wanted to play sports. I played baseball, basketball, football throughout my middle school.
You started at 10, you said?
Yes, ma'am. I started at 10.
Well, what happened before you started playing? I mean, when did you get that idea or whatever? What were you doing?
Well, down where I'm from, we had a elementary school band. And, you know, since we didn't have any sports in our elementary school at that young age, the only thing that was going during the time I was in elementary school was the band program. Because I guess we were too young to play any other sports. Well, we didn't have any sports at that young in our area. I mean, we played, you know, backyard basketball and stuff like that, but not any organized stuff.
So you just singled out the trumpet, or that's what I want to know, when you singled it out?
The reason I singled out the trumpet because I thought it was easier.
Was it easier?
Yeah, because I saw the saxophone. I said, man, that has too many keys on it. I don't want to play saxophone. So the trumpet had 3 little valves on it. So I said, hey, well, maybe that looks a little easier, so I'm just going to pick the trumpet. So I picked out the trumpet out of all of them. The trombone was it seemed a little difficult because you have to know where to put the slide and stuff. So I was like, well, I'm going to go out the easy way. Come to find out, it wasn't as easy as I thought it was, just because it had 3 valves. But that's where I started off, was on trumpet.
Wow. And then the love of music just just kept growing?
Yes, yes. I started there. Then I played in the middle school band. I played in 6th and 7th grade. Then one day my mom just asked me, she said, hey, do you want to play piano? Because I had a cousin that started me out. He started me out playing piano, in church, which everybody starts out, even the major artists and everybody starts out in church just like everybody else. And my mom asked me one day, she said, hey, do you want to play piano? And I was like, hey, if you buy it, I'll play it.
And just like that?
Yes, ma'am. So one day she came home and she had a piano there for me.
And you've been playing the piano ever since?
And I've been playing ever since. I started when I was about fifth grade, about 10 years old when I started that too. So I kind of started both at the same time.
Well, how did all this grow up into you helping groups of people to put all these notes and, one low, one this? How did it emerge like that? Just real quickly so we can move. I would love to cover a lot of territory.
Well, I had a lot of people influence me when I was growing up. I had a cousin that played saxophone. Actually, he was my high school band director. And it was a lot of guys that was in my area that played different instruments. And I grew up playing quartet, and seemed like everybody that was around me pretty much played guitar. And I was pretty much like the only keyboard player that was around, or the piano player that was around. So it was like, I said, well, maybe I'll just do something different. And, those guys just come pick me up on Sunday afternoons and travel with them and go to different churches, and I'm playing the piano and the keyboard and they're playing the guitars. So that really influenced me. Like I said, even though I played sports in school and things like that, but that also kept me going because it gave me, extracurricular activity to do besides just playing sports and doing other things.
Now, when you're playing in the different arenas like the church and other parts, is there a different feel that you get? I like to think when you go to church, there's a whole different feel. Yeah. But is it a different, or you just feel good no matter where if you're playing for a wedding or if you're playing for I don't know what? Is it how do you feel here? Is it this basically the same, or there's difference?
Yes, yes, it makes you feel good anywhere you play, because anytime you have a love for something and anytime you have a desire to do something in order to get better and, and want to be an inspiration to other people or things like that, it makes you feel good about it. So anywhere I am, I always love doing it and have the joy playing it.
Good. And now, I'm excited because we went to the Bobcats and there you were down there, directing the chorus. Is that
right.
what you call
yes,
it? Chorus? And I'm always talking about a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. If
right.
we keep working on our gifts, then the doors are going to open for us no matter what. As long as you just said you have a love to
right.
play no matter where you are because it's in you. Now, since I met you through the school, through my granddaughter and everything, why should schools have music? And why should the schools have music, and anything else you want to add to that?
Schools should have music because music gives a kid, you're talking about them it gives them more social skills because you're in a band or you're in a chorus or you're in an orchestra, you're doing things with other kids, and it shows expression when you're playing music. And music statistics also show that music also help people with or students with SAT scores and help them have higher scores on standardized tests, because you're using all of the different core subjects when you're playing music. Music deals with health, music deals with science, social studies, because you're talking about history. It deals with math because you're clapping or you're counting at the same time you're playing the instruments, and it has like that hand-eye coordination when you're playing an instrument or you're singing or doing anything dealing with music.
I don't think I've ever thought about it quite like that. Well, I'm not a singer or anything. I don't think I've ever quite thought about it like that.
Yes, ma'am. And I explain to my kids a lot in the classroom. When you're reading music, that's a major reading comprehension strategy when you're reading music. The only difference between, and I tell them, the only difference between reading music and just reading a regular book is you're reading notes, you're reading symbols and signs. And that's the difference between you reading a regular book and you're reading music at the same time.
Well, I have you why music education is important. I think you've been answering that, but is there anything else you want to add to this? As they say, you just blown my mind away. I had not even put all that together. All I know is, when I sing in the bathroom, I'm feeling really good. I mean, all this is taking place. So if music's good for the young folks, they're certainly good for the older folk, huh?
Oh, it is. It is. It is.
Okay, what are the benefits? You just said something about the benefits of music education.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you want to share as a music teacher when, say, like you have all your students, you got about 20 or 30 students, whatever, and then you can single out whether somebody have gifts. How do you go about singling that out? I mean, is it a feeling that you have, or is it what the student does, or what?
Well, a lot of times, everybody has some type of talent. And I believe that, and with the kids, if they come to the class, or if I even have them around or see they have some type of musical ability, it's my job to go and pull it out of them and do different exercises with them and get them to learn how important it is and how it can enhance their skills. Not even just now in the classroom or in the school, but later on in the future. Because, I was the same way when I was in school. Like I said, I played a lot of different sports and things like that, but not knowing that, 20 years down the road that I'll be a music teacher, just because, I took an interest in band and took an interest in piano.
Wow. Whew. So wow, that is really something that you've just confirmed what I'm saying about a gift makes room for you if you stay doing what it is you really love doing. Doors will open and people will see that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, let me see what else we have. Is you told me about your family is musical, or you have someone that came through your family because your mom went and bought you that piano.
Yes, ma'am.
Did she get you a big piano, or did she get you, what did she get?
Oh, she got me a big piano. She got me a big piano.
Wait a minute, with the
88 keys.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, ma'am. She got me a big piano. And actually, I took piano lessons under a couple of people. I had about a couple of piano teachers. I had a cousin that taught me how to read, and I had another cousin taught me how to play by ear. So I was kind of fighting between. I didn't like to practice because I like playing stuff I heard on the radio and different things like that. Like most of the kids now, they like to sing stuff they hear on the radio, but it's a fight to get them to learn how to read it. And that's what I try to fight now for them to do, is learn how to read the material, because it also builds up their comprehension when they're reading comprehension when reading music.
Well, what is one of the most difficult challenges you've had when you're starting out with somebody that maybe not musical, and they don't want to, and they're in your class, you don't get them out your class, right? What do you do with that? You must have some kids that just not interested.
Yeah, a lot of them not interested, but what I usually do is I usually have them or sit down with them and get them to understand music teaches you discipline. It not only teaches you how to play, and I tell my students all the time, we're not looking for you to be a major artist or a major singer, but it also teaches you discipline. It teaches you direction. It teaches you how to follow direction and how symbols. And I like to compare, and any of my kids can tell you, I like to compare music to driving a car.
Wow.
Because when you're driving down the street, all you see is symbols. You really don't see words telling you exactly what the sign is telling you what to do. And that's what music does. And if they can learn the discipline part of it and the direction part of it, then that's a life skill right there.
And what a great analogy to use driving a car.
Right.
Because I told my husband, I said, a lot of people just take this for granted. I said, but this is really something, to be able to drive a car and hold it in the road and, all the things. That is really great. What do you have visions of something that you would like to do yourself music-wise, like having what is your vision about your music ability as a teacher? What do you see yourself doing? They always say 5 years from now.
Right.
I think I can ask you that, right?
Right. Yes. My vision is I want to continue to be in music, and my vision is to pretty much have my own school of music to where I can have a school to where kids can come maybe after school, and also during the summer, because I know it's a lot of summer camps where kids go to like basketball camps and football camps, but I wanted to have a music camp to where
Music camp.
a music camp to
But
where
this
kids
is
can
only for
come.
young people, though, right?
Oh, anybody.
I mean, you have a camp where
It's never
where-
you're never too old to learn. Never too old to learn.
I mean, all different ages.
Right.
I'm just having fun with you, but because music is always there in the scriptures, and I mean, our Father just loved music. Now, okay, which famous musicians have you learned from, and who was your first teacher? I want quick.
My favorite is Stevie Wonder, because Stevie Wonder is because I started out singing when I was young too. I was a
You
singer.
can sing too?
I was a singer when I was younger, but when I started playing, I kind of faded away from it a little bit because that it's kind of in the cut now because I don't have to sing as much. I can pretty much play.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, Stevie Wonder was one of my favorites for us, because he played and he sang, and then the most unique part about it, he's blind, so.
Now, who was your first teacher? Who was your first teacher? I could ask you that. I want to ask you, what teacher influenced you the most? And if they did, what did they say to you, or what did they do to influence you?
My first teacher was my cousin. His name was Paul Funches. He started me out, like I said, in the church because, and my uncle can tell you, doing choir rehearsals, he may come over to my mom's house and show me the songs that they're doing, and I'm just in the corner on the other piano, bang, 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 bang the whole time, the whole time we're at choir rehearsal, just, playing along with them, just trying to catch on. And he influenced me a lot because he spent a lot of time with me, teaching me songs. I used to travel with him to play for other choirs and different things like that inside the church and outside the church. And he had me going. And when I got to college, when I started meeting other people that played piano, they were like an influence to me also, a lot of my friends, because they played and I learned from them. We learned from each other. And it was more like a sharing type thing, I can show you what I can do, you show me what you can do, and we can just create something.
Oh, man. Wow. Well, do you write songs yourself?
I have written songs, but I haven't written a whole lot of songs lately.
Or just music you can make up, you do music on your own, you create?
Yes,
I think
ma'am.
I'm asking the right question,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay, do you perform in public?
Yes, performing in public a lot. I play with a lot of different jazz ensembles and a lot
Jazz?
of yes,
My
we
husband
do.
loves jazz.
Yeah, we do a lot of jazz in different places.
In
Yes,
other
ma'am.
words, you don't limit yourself to different things.
No, we don't.
Different things.
No, we
Do you
don't.
play in any blues anywhere? Do people still play blues?
Oh yeah, oh yes.
All
we play
of
it
that.
all the time.
So right now you may break out in songs all inside yourself, right?
And that's another part of teaching, because you try to teach different genres of music. You want to learn all types of music, because you never know what type of music, you may have to, what kind of crowd you may have to, because I'm also a musician, you just never know what type of crowd you have to cater to, or what type of group you would like to play for, because we get a lot of calls from different people saying that, hey, we want like a little 3-piece ensemble to play here. And if they want a certain type of music, that's the type of music that we play,
Do you get nervous?
When I first started, I did. And that's why. But I had to break myself out of the shyness, just jump out there and be a leader, and try to, get out of it.
I like that, be a leader. All right, well, I'm gonna come back to some more, but now when you were teaching Bethany, my granddaughter, you said that you saw that there is a gift in her, or
Right.
that. All right, tell me something, because they're gonna see this, so.
Right.
Is anything else that you can share? Because she seems to be excited over learning.
Right. The first thing I look for is whether they're interested or not. That's the first thing. And after I find out whether they're interested or not, my job is to continue to enhance things to keep them interested, to make it fun, to make the learning fun, to make it to where, they will continue to enjoy it. you know, I like to be able to say, hey, I'm ready for my lesson today, you know, versus, oh, I don't want to do this. So I try to make it to where it's a learning experience, to where use different strategies to where they can catch on fast. Because, you know, I have to learn a lot of different teaching strategies, and because a lot of kids learn differently.
Well, that makes me feel happy because Bethany feels like she's going to keep on taking lessons. So that's a good sign then, isn't
Yes.
it? And not like me pushing her. Because
Right.
I wanted to see if that's something in her that we need to encourage.
Right.
So that's why, okay. All right, well, that was good. Wow. How do you practice? Well, anyway, I'm looking at the ones, how often and how long do you practice?
I advise anybody to practice at least 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes a day. Sometimes I spend hours practicing, sometimes 2-3 hours going by, and you just never know because you're just all into what you're doing. You know, especially like now, like I said, I play a lot of different genres of music. Actually, I play at a church also, so we get a lot of material, learning a lot of music. So, you know, you just want to be able to make sure you don't hit any wrong notes, have everything right, everything sound good.
You say
So-
I hear you. You say you play music, and the churches are they basically the same kind of, or just whatever music they want you to play, meaning songs, you probably can improvise, right?
Right. Yes, we do a lot of improvising. We learn a lot of songs from a lot of different artists. And we usually try to correlate music to whatever the word is for that day, you know, so the service can kind of flow all together.
How do you balance all this with you have your children, and then you have to, in the school, you have to grade them or whatever you do with them to know, you know, how to grade. How in the world you find time to do all of this? I mean, you do have a life outside.
Right.
So how do you manage to do all of that? I mean, when you get ready to sit down and grade or whatever you do, you see all these little faces coming before you?
Right, right. It is very time consuming. I try to balance out my day way in advance, way ahead of time, so I know what's coming next. You lose a lot of sleep. It's a lot of hours put into it. But I usually try to have a schedule. I have a daily schedule that I go by every day, and I try to stick with my schedule to where I can balance everything out to, so that, you know, I can get other practice time in, the time with the kids, the time outside of school. So it's not a whole lot of personal time.
I can hear that. Tell me how the Bobcat, you know, how they usually have you go and, you know, how did it come about? And then if there's something you want to say to the audience to encourage them with their children or
Okay.
whoever, because we only have like a few moments here
Okay.
to do this with. So Bobcat situation, and then a word to the community.
Well, the Bobcats game, this is our second year doing it, and it was, I don't know what happened, but last year was my first year at this particular school, Albemarle Road, and I just got a phone call one day and said, hey, we're having an event where we're having a game, and we would like for your course, you know, do an audition and send in a tape and have your course to do the national anthem for us. So I was like, sure. And I'm big on getting kids out of the building, you know, and I tell kids all the time, I said, nobody would ever hear you inside the building but your teachers and your fellow classmates. I say, so my thing is to get the kids out of the building, do a lot of different things. We did some Christmas carols for CMC University back in December for the patients.
Yes.
We sung for the
my.
Pain Center
Yes.
back in December.
Beautiful.
We also did some Christmas carols for 101 V1019 down at the Epicenter
Wow. Well,
back in December.
So if I want you to do something Jewish and Hebrewish, you'll help me with that, right?
Yes, ma'am. We try to do all genres of music.
All right, all right. Now, what would you say to maybe somebody have an audience would like to be encouraged or something in the music area. Is there anything you would like to say to the community?
Yes, what I
music-wise?
would say is that if you have any kids or any students that's really into music, I'll say push the music. Make sure that they learn different types of music. A lot of kids, you know, they're into sports now, basketball, football, you know, a lot of the athletes. There also money in college to go to college for music also, and a lot of kids don't know that because they're so into the sports. And I was a sports fanatic when I was in high school and middle school, and what I did, I kept playing my instruments, and you know, if I didn't get a scholarship in football, basketball, or any of the sports area, what I did was continue, and I got a scholarship playing in the band in college. So push them, make sure they learn the music, because like I said, music, it has its different ways for kids to learn. You know, it shows an expression, you know, when you're playing music. So really push that on the kids or your students if they're really into the music. Make sure they have that as another option. Leave their options wide open, so the fact that, you know, when they get, you know, outside of high school, outside of college, that's another option that they will have in order to, you know, better themselves and have that ability to be versatile.
Well, I really appreciate you coming here today. I know that it was a sacrifice also for you to come, and just want you to know that we appreciate it, and I'm sure the community will be very blessed they haven't already met you, to meet another professor who teaches music and who is desiring to bring about a vision in the future that will enhance Charlotte, North Carolina, and hopefully public access. Maybe one day you will want to, you know, put on a program here at Public Access and be able to bring your students on and to share it. Thank you so much for coming today. Really appreciate it. And audience, we thank you very much for tuning in. And like I always say, we're always trying to make connections, and not only the Hebrew connection to Christianity, etc., but connecting our hearts to what Father is doing using our gifts. Thank you so much. And anything else? You got a second? Anything else?
Oh, that's about it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. And I'm going to hold you to when I started trying to write some songs with the Hebrew names in it and things like that, because, you know, I want to have some kind of music when I'm doing something that we can use with Father's name. You don't have any objections to that, right?
No, I don't have any objections to it.
Because you're full of music and full of notes. Thank you all. Please tune in again next week. Hallelujah.
Lift up your voice
really
like
joyous.
a trumpet,
Music
and
is
tell
only I
my
can
people
sing.
their transgressions, and the house of Yaakov, Jacob, their sins. Blow ye the trumpets in Zion, sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahuwah Yahweh is at hand. Your mouth is a trumpet. Blow ye the shofar. Amen.